Hey everybody, Tyrant here. I just wanted to show you the latest features in version 057 of Virtual Mission Tools VMT. What we've got here is the main new feature is something called annotations. I've gone ahead and edited the map a little bit, or adjusted the map settings to make things easier to see, turned off the weather and turned the brightness down a little bit. But the thing I want to point out here is this annotations tab. This is new. Here under annotations you can see you can add various things. Right now there are 4 categories of things: shape, arrow, lines, and pre-planned threats, PPTs. I wanted to add more, but this is already basically a full-fledged drawing program inside of VMT. Maybe not full-fledged, but it's a drawing program. So spend enough time on this for now to get you started. If you have feedback on things you'd like to see that would make this feature better, let me know and I'll improve it based on those. But in the meantime, I have many other features I'd like to get onto. So anyway, so you click one of these buttons and it will plop a new whatever, in this case shape, on the map. And you'll notice that it shows up with this blue rectangular on it, which means it's being edited. That's also indicated by the pencil here. If I unclick that pencil, it's not being edited anymore, and it appears as it would appear on the map, when not being edited. So let's edit that. Things you can do are hopefully pretty intuitive. You can grab this to move it around. You can grab this to resize it. The trash can will delete it. Okay. The little rotating thing will rotate it. And then this one's a little less intuitive, but what this does is changes the text size. So you can click and drag that to make the text bigger or smaller. You can also click here to edit this text, and you can include line breaks. So I can't type. So you can do stuff like that. And if you make it narrower, it will word wrap and all that good stuff. Note that it'll flow outside the boundaries, so you have to make it big enough. So you might need to play with the text size, whatever. All that's also available over here in the edit area. You can change what it says here. Positioning, typically you're going to do that by dragging the thing around rather than editing these values, but you could. Edges controls, let me turn the editing off so you can see this a little bit better, controls the edge of the border. So for instance, I might want to say this thing has a dashed edge. And then if you can see that or not, let's change the color. And we can change that either here in this interactive color picker, or we can actually just type in color names here. So let's make a white color border. We can change how thick that border is, how long the dashes are, how far apart they are, just like get a good view that you want. You can change the fill. You can say it's not filled at all. You could fill it with whatever color you want to. Notice this transparency slider down here at the bottom. The more to the right that is, the more opaque the fill is, so you can get that however you like. And then text obviously controls the various attributes of the text, the words, the font that you use, the left, right. So I don't need to explain all this. I think a lot of it's pretty obvious. You can play around with it too as you edit these. You'll see these. Okay. So the other thing we can do is we can click this little hide button, this guy. If you do that, the thing will go away, and that's just so you can declutter your map if you want to. These annotations also wind up going into the briefing files that you save. And so when your mission participants are viewing a VMTB, they can also turn these on and off as they like, and the state that they're in will be saved along with the briefing file. So if you make a bunch of these and set them as not viewable, when they open the briefing, they will see those in this state, like not visible, and they'll have to click this to get it back open. Okay, so that's the shapes. Let's look at arrows real quick, and I'm not really going to explain too much since a lot of the dialog boxes, the appearance, and all this stuff is the same. The edges and the fill are the same. The only other thing you have control of is, let's zoom in here a little bit, is you have control the overall kind of heft of the thing, how wide that arrow shaft is, how long or how wide the head is, or you can control the shape of the arrowhead a little bit. And then the only other thing I'd like to point out is that the way you can move the whole thing like this, or you can move the A and B points. You can see they're labeled A and B around independently. Okay, and then I'm done editing. Oh, that's a really ugly arrow, but you get the idea. Lines is a little bit different. So this guy is it's a series of points. You can see A, B right now. A plus will add a point, so this will add a point between A and B. This plus here will add a line after C, so now we've got A, B, C, D. We can go to edges and we can make that line thicker. We can make it dashed. I think you basically get the idea. We can make it white. The other thing you can do is under points, you can click closed. If you make it closed, it will draw a line, an edge rather, from the last point back to the first point. So this is now closed. It goes A, B, C, D, and back to A. And once you do that, you have the option to fill in the shape. So you can make kind of arbitrarily filled in shapes if you want this way. Do whatever you like. Then the only other one I wanted to show you is the pre-planned threat. So this guy uses your ppt.ini from the theater, and you can see that it lists all the things. We could put like, let's put an SA10 in here. So I can search for SA10, there we go, and it will put one of these guys in. The only thing we can really do with these as far as adjusting them is to edit, as to move them as far as interactive controls. But of course you can still do that same stuff that you do with the other stuff. You could, you could fill it in if you want. You could say, okay, this guy's going to have like a pink interior. Maybe we want to make that a little bit more transparent. All the same stuff. You could make the edges dashed if you really wanted to, that type of thing, or thicker. Or maybe you don't want an edge at all, right? Maybe you just want the symbol on the map. We could turn off the fill, turn off the edges, and now we've just got that little PPT symbol. And you can put that wherever you need to put it. Yeah, that's really it. I mean, we have these buttons up here. They're fairly self-explanatory in terms of what they do. Save and load. This refers to saving just the annotations. So if I click Save on this, it's going to save any annotations I have open. Currently, that's just the SA10. And that saves it in a .vmta file, which you can then load into other missions or briefings. What that lets you do is create like a standard set of annotations, maybe approach paths or threat areas or the flot or whatever, and then save it, and then later when you're making another mission, you can load that back in so you don't have to recreate it every time. You can also import annotations from an existing briefing file. If you have a VMTB sitting around that had a bunch of nice annotations in it, you forgot to save the annotations out of that thing, you can go ahead and just import them straight from the VMTB. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but I think that's a pretty good overview, and I don't want to run too long, so we'll call it a day there. I'm Tyron. I'm at the first VFW. I'm on the BMS forums. If you need any help at all, the link here will always take you straight to the BMS forum thread where VMT is announced, and that's a good place to ask questions. But hope you enjoy it. Please do let me know if you can think of any ways to make this feature or any other feature better. Thanks.